welcome everyone. Next we have approval of the Board of Trustees minutes for Tuesday, February 20th, 2018. I would ask for a motion to approve those minutes.
So move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I do. Okay. Any questions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving that set of minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Item 5 is the next set of minutes, but those are actually not ready yet, so we're not going to approve those tonight. We'll wait till the next meeting to approve those. Madam Clerk, any correspondence?
I do. I have a letter here from the Peoria Heights Public Library, and it says, Dear Mayor, this year the Peoria Heights Public Library is partnering with Peoria Heights Grade School and donating the proceeds from our annual basket raffle to support their weekend snack program for students who receive free and reduced meals. In Peoria Heights Grade School, 99% of the students are low income and rely on the school to provide meals during the school week. This leaves many Peoria Heights children hungry over weekends and school breaks. Peoria Heights residents and Peoria Heights Grade School parent Jennifer Dunaway saw a need to provide these children nutritional assistance over weekends and breaks. In cooperation with school, Jennifer started the local snack pack program to fill that need. Supported by donations, the program is currently only able to provide 1 or 2 snack pack distributions per month during the school year. In an effort to extend the program, the library is working with Jennifer and the school to provide snack packs during the summer. From June to August, the library will serve as a staging and distribution point for the program. We invite elected officials and employees of the village to support local children by participating in the library's raffle held from March 1 through 30, 2018. Tickets are $1 or $6.45, and a wide variety of themed baskets are available to win. The raffle will conclude with a drawing at 3 p.m. on Friday, March 30th. If you'd like more information, please contact me by email or phone. And this is from Shauna Edwards. That's it.
Thank you. I'd just like to take the time to thank the library for spearheading this project and encourage everyone to please try and get by the library and support this good cause. Any question on any of the correspondence? Okay. As far as announcements, I just want to take this time to thank everyone who helped me answer phones on Channel 47 Sunday night. That would be Trustee Carter, Sergeant Neal, Scott Shoup, Danny Phelan, and Kim Jagley. And I think Cheryl made it look easy. I was a little bit confused, but she made it look easy and took a lot of nice donations.
Neal did. He had more calls than all.
Thank you, Trustee Carter. All right, we would be on to trustees' reports. So the first would be Economic and Community Development. Trustee Dan Mariscal.
Thank you, Mayor. I only have one thing that I want to report this evening. I want to thank Director Smith and all the guys at Public Works for placing all of the statues. I believe that happened last week, correct? Sculptures, forgive me. I believe we still got some signage and other things like that that need to be erected before we can call it a wrap, so to speak, but I think it's moving forward accordingly, and like I said, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate that. Sure.
As do all of us, and Public Works has been outstanding in picking up the sculptures, getting them back here safely, putting them up, so thanks to your crew, Kyle. Thank you. Anything else, gentlemen? Okay. So we've been at police. Trustee Carter?
Yeah, I'd just like to, the St. Patty's Day, give an update about how there was no incidents and it went very well from what I'm hearing. And to thank everybody that was involved to make that happen, meaning the police department, Kyle's department, the street department. They blocked the streets off, which I think that helped a lot. I went by there and way better than last year, so. And I do believe that you had quite a few people that come up there even though the weather was kind of bad. Yeah, and if the chief wants to add any more.
Yes, we only had a few minor incidents, nothing really to report, so things went smooth. I think all the feedback I received was positive, not only from the business owners, but from the residents that live along the detoured route. I think the comments I received were much smoother this year than last, so I think as we go forward each year, I think we'll have little tweaks, but I'm elated that, we just had a few minor incidents. So again, like Trustee Carter stated, thank everyone involved, Superintendent Smith for his pre-planning, business owners for their cooperation. So definitely a success.
Well, and again, thanks to Public Works and Police for making this a very good event. We want those type of events in Peoria Heights, but at this time I would like to thank the residents because they are patient with us, and sometimes they are slightly inconvenienced by these events, but I think everything went very well. I know I was driving the area throughout the day, and I did not encounter any delays in getting through, so it was a good plan. Mr. Blasik, are you here tonight to talk about this event?
Yes.
Okay, well, I think now would be a good time since we're on that topic, so if you want to come forward, and then we'll get back to anything else police-related.
Well, I just wanted to come in and thank the trustees and Mayor Fallon and Administrator Fick for allowing us to have this event. We did a lot of planning, and I think it went out with a success. I have to really tip my hat to the Public Works Department and Director Smith. You guys did an amazing job, and made and the plan that you came up with, Chief Sutton, was really made things run smoothly this year, I feel. And then Chief Sutton, your crew was around a lot, and we had a couple extra guys at our place, and I think that made everyone feel safe, and it went really well. We had a great crowd. I was really surprised about the number of people that wanted to stand out in 35-degree weather on that day. It was felt like we were in Dublin again. But and then the residents around there, I just wanted to thank them also for their patience with what we did. At the end of the night, after we had cleaned up, I personally walked all the blocks around and with a trash bag and picked up whatever I saw, even if it wasn't the stuff that I knew came from our place, just to make sure that it was a little cleaner than when we got it. So
Thanks for doing that, Billy.
yeah, well, it's important. So I just wanted to thank everybody, and I think that it was a success. And if anyone has anything that they'd like to address me with, either now or
Trustees,
later.
any questions?
Okay, I just have a comment. It's probably not going to be a very, well, I don't know, some of them will chuckle, but you are staying open and you're not leaving, right?
Right.
You're going to be here next year?
Yes, yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. Last time, the second time, the guy left town, so.
Well, we're very happy to have you here, but let's start much earlier.
Yes.
I think we need to start no later than the fall in planning this
Sure.
event, because it's only going to get bigger. But Chief Sutton told me that there were no incidents here, and Poor Brothers had nice correspondence with Rob Matheson and Kevin Shields, both Chief Sutton and I, and everything went well there also.
And I've talked to some of the other restaurateurs in the neighborhood, and some of them had some of their best days again, so that's just really good news. So hopefully we can continue this. Yep.
Good job.
Nice
Thank
sound system, because I could hear it down at my house, and I just sat in my backyard. And
Yep,
No
thank
cover
you.
charge for that, Trustee Guy.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just add to, Billy and his group did a great job cleaning up. We went up there on Sunday expecting to do a cleanup, and it looked like nothing had even happened. So I think this is, moving forward, this is the way, if we're going to continue to do these events, this is really how it should be. So thanks to Billy for that.
So, Mr. Blasik, is it safe to say that's your biggest day of the year, by far? Okay, all right,
Since we've been open.
good. Trustee Carter, what else do you have?
I think we're done.
Nothing else, Chief? All right, thank you both. We would be at Building and Property Maintenance. Trustee Gett.
Thank you, Mayor Phelan. I have nothing to report at this time, unless Administrator Fick has something.
Anything, Matt?
What's going on out here with the
I
tower?
don't, that might be more for Public Works, but I'm not quite sure. I see sparks and stuff out there periodically, but
Well, it is under building maintenance, so if you want to say something or wait, that's fine.
I do know the elevator contractor. They've came up to the office. I know they're out there working. They were the other day, so.
I think the elevator folks and our tower rehabilitation folks all showed up on the same day. So it's been pretty busy out there. This week, as far as the water tower rehabilitation is going, they're doing a lot of welding work. The tower is completely drained right now. It's totally shut off. There are several towers built in the 70s, so there's several things that we need to do to kind of bring it up to modern safety standards. One of them is putting in a bigger manway in the side of the tower. So that's why they've been using a torch and cutting a big hole in the side of our water tower. But that should all be wrapped up this week, and then they're going to start the sandblasting and painting on the inside next week. And that should take about 3 weeks, so we plan to have everything done, have the tower back online before we kick off all the events for the spring and summer.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Any questions for Trustee Gett? Okay, on to fire. Trustee Reichert.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing this evening.
Okay, then back to Public Works. Trustee Harn.
I have nothing right now. Thank you.
Mr. Smith, Director Smith, anything?
No, sir, I was just going to talk about the tower.
Okay. So Administration and Personnel, Trustee Diane Mariscal.
The only thing I wanted to say was a thank you to Stephanie and Emily for the presentation they put together. As we're going through these budgets, it makes it a little bit easier to kind of see it with pictures and have them spell it all out for us as much as they can. So I just wanted to maybe let you know to give them another kudos. I did send them both a text message and an email to let them know. But
Thank you, and I know it helped me understand where our revenues come from and what we spend on, so they did an excellent job, I agree. Any questions for Diane or Matt on administration? All right, we will be at comments from the audience. Any comments from the audience? Going once? Going twice? Comments from the audience are closed. Okay, old business. Any old business to come before the board? On to new business. The first, ordinance 2018-1548, an ordinance of the Village of Peoria Heights, Peoria County, Illinois, providing for the acquisition of 2 dump trucks and accessories and for the borrowing of not more than $250,000 from Morton Community Bank for the purpose of financing the purchase of dump trucks. Trustee Harn, I'd ask for a motion to approve that.
I make a motion, we approve this.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I do. Okay, go ahead, Brian.
We are purchasing 2 new dump trucks for the Public Works Department. They are Ford F-750s, and the price includes completely outfitting the trucks for Public Works. That includes a stainless steel dump bed, new plows, new salt spreader, I'm assuming. It's the complete kit. So, and these will last for, I don't know, what do we get?
My capital improvement schedule right now is 12 years. 12 years? But the ones we have about 20 on them.
Okay. It's surprising how low of miles the dump trucks actually have. They have to be replaced, but they run so many hours. The village is small, so we're really not going that far, but the trucks run a lot. They run a lot of hours. They get ate up with all the salt brine that they're in, so yeah, we're ready for 2 new trucks. And
Well, since I've been mayor, I have to compliment Public Works on how well that I've noticed they take care of things, and I appreciate that, so.
yeah, you can always tell when you leave Peoria Heights, go into Peoria in a snowstorm.
Well, and not only the roads, but the equipment. So they take very good care of the equipment, which is an expensive investment for us, so thanks, guys.
Yes.
Questions or discussion on the motion?
I just have a quick question. In the ordinance, it says not to exceed the $250,000. But then in section 2, it said the total cost was $257,000. Where are we getting that other $57,000?
I've got the 2 old trucks that I need to get rid of. I need to surplus them, and I'm hoping that each one of those will be worth about $10,000.
Okay.
So that's where I plan to use some of that money for that.
That answers my question.
So the 54 and 842 that's on here, that's just for one truck, right? That's where you're coming up with the 257.
The 50,
It's like 147,
Yeah,
616 for 2 trucks, and then
the 54,482, that is the price to Monroe to upfit 1 truck. So the cab chassis themselves are 73,808 a piece.
Right.
And then the upfit is 54,000 a piece.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I can. Okay.
Anyone else?
I just want to note that we worked with Attorney Tibbs to get a letter that indicated that this is a bank-qualified purchase, so we were able to reduce our rate from about 4.5% to a little over 3%, which saves us quite a bit of money over the life of the loan. So appreciate the effort he did on that and help us out.
And we're able to then keep the banking local, and the local bank, through this qualified loan, I mean, they were actually able to beat Ford Motor Company by 1.5%, so.
And thank you for stating that for the record, because the resolution actually says Morton Community Bank, but it's actually Peoria Heights Community Bank.
Correct.
Great. Anyone else? All right, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Harn?
Aye.
Trustee Gett?
Aye.
Trustee Dan Marisco? Aye. Trustee Diane Marisco?
Aye.
Trustee Reichert?
Aye.
Trustee Carter?
All right, that passes.
What bank are we going through? The Heights Bank, or?
It's Peoria Heights Community Bank, which is a subsidiary of Morton Community Bank, but I will just take this time, Trustee Carter, to tell you that they've been very active in our community, and Bob Mueller at Morton Community Bank, or again, Peoria Heights Community Bank, they're very engaged in the community, so that's good news. Okay, next is ordinance 2018-1549, an ordinance amending Title 10 of the Village Code of the Village of Peoria Heights for the purpose of adopting regulations governing the location of firearms-related facilities within the village. Trustee Diane Mariscal, I would ask for a motion to approve this.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 2018-1549.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
I do. All right, Diane, are you going to set this up for us?
To me, and a couple of the other trustees, it was a little difficult to understand this, but from what I understand, and Matt, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this ordinance basically is a special use for firearms within the industrial district, is that correct? To keep that out of the commercial area. And so anytime you would look at this particular ordinance, you would see the special uses for that industrial area, and this just happens to be one of them that they added to it. And do you have anything else to add to that?
Sure. So the proposed use was not specifically listed in our code, which means it's not allowed. So when we had an inquiry about opening a firearm-related business, we had to modify our code with the attorney's assistance to create the ability to apply it. We wanted to have it be a special use and not something that's just permitted outright. So we modified the industrial section of our code and included a definition of a firearm-related facility, and then later in this ordinance, you can see the underlying portion talks about the requirements that you have to follow to apply for special use, which includes, it's a personal special use granted to the applicant, so it can't be transferred, they can't sell it. They have to be, make sure that they pay all their applicable sales tax, open for inspections at any time for the police department. So there are additional conditions that we can talk about at the next ordinance, which is the actual special use for this facility, but this one that Diane's talking about just kind of allows the ability to apply for the special use.
Thank you, and I'm going to go to Council Tibbs. I asked him to be very strict in writing this, so Mr. Tibbs, would you take it over?
Yes, among the limitations on that are automatic for this ordinance are, let me get to it here. As Matt indicated, this is a special use, and so it can't be established without the approval of the village board. And of course, any granting of a special use requires a public hearing conducted first by the Zoning Board of Appeals and a recommendation by the Zoning Board of Appeals to the village board. I think Matt already addressed these to some extent. Right now, as he already noted, firearms-related facilities are not identified anywhere in the village code, so this defines them and provides that they can be located by special use only within the I-1 district, so they won't be setting in any of the commercial areas. Again, special use may not be assigned, sold, transferred, or operated either voluntarily or involuntarily by any person other than the approved applicant. And in this case, the applicant is a corporate entity, and the ordinance also provides that any transfer of any interest in a corporate applicant grantee by a shareholder, manager, or other is prohibited. So you can't circumvent the limitation on transfers by transferring shares in a corporation that happens to hold the license for the facility. They got to pay all, report and collect any retailer's occupation tax or other sales tax due, and of course, any recipient of a special use to operate a firearms-related facility must maintain a record of all transactions by the facility, which shall be available during regular business hours for inspection by any representative of the police department. So those automatically go with any firearms, any special use granted for a firearms-related facility.
Before we go any further, Dan Dolan is here tonight, so Mr. Dolan, you want to come forward and tell the board a little bit about what you plan to do, sir? And if you give your name and address for the record.
Yep. Thank you guys for your time. Dan Dolan. I live at, would you say my address?
Please, for the record.
Sure. 160 Cracklewood Lane, East Peoria, Illinois. Started this business out of my basement, moved to my dining room table, and now we're in my garage. We're growing at a capacity larger than I can maintain out of my garage. Decided we need to look for a commercial building, and the first place that came to mind to move to was the Heights. So called Mayor Phelan, set up a meeting with him, Administrator Fick, and Chief Sutton. We discussed this, told him exactly what the plan is. The majority of what our business does is actually, we do a lot of reviews on firearms where we are not sponsored by a firearm manufacturer, so we can give an unbiased review on a firearm to somebody who may be interested in purchasing said item. In addition to that, we do a lot of online sales. So the biggest thing that we really are planning on doing here is shipping. We ship out a lot. We have accounts with FedEx and UPS. Probably going to be gearing more towards UPS, but just, you know, we want to be in the Heights is really what it boils down to. I think we have a lot to offer to the community. We deal with very, I'd say, select, upscale type clientele. We aren't selling firearms to just anybody and everybody. It's actually the intentions of the building are going to be appointment only due to the fact that we are so online based. It's just going to be, I think it's going to flow better for us to be able to keep the door locked at all times. And if somebody needs to pick something up or wants to come in and look around, they're more than welcome to set up an appointment and come in. But we don't want the doors open to the public. If you guys are familiar with the property that we're going to be at, very few people are going to know that we're there. We actually last night at the zoning meeting had discussion in regards to a sign. You know, we might put a sign up. It's not going to be very big. We really don't want to draw too much attention to ourselves. You know, the proximity to the police station was probably the biggest thing that we really liked about the building, security features. And then obviously we've already got a security alarm company has already been out to the building to get us, you know, a state-of-the-art security system set up. So
All right, before we take questions, Chief Sutton, would you, I know you and I spent a lot of time with Mr. Dolan, so I'd like to, for the record, your opinion on this and what we went through to scrutinize this.
Well, I have no objection. I know that we met. I did talk to some of the residents down there. As far as any opposition or concerns they might have, they did not. They were all in support of it. I've talked to Hailey Kemp. We'll be renting the location to Mr. Dolan, so all positive as far as the statement, catty corner to the police department. That's pretty good security. I mean, as much as that road's traveled by our department, I think that's a plus. But I do also think that some of his main employees are law enforcement or retired law enforcement, which...
Thanks for getting that on the record. That's important.
Forgot to mention that.
Puts my mind at ease. But in fact, I know the one individual pretty well and worked the street when he was on the street. So knowing the background there, I'm pretty confident this is a safe, secure business, and I think we should wish him luck. But I have no objections, and I have not heard of any objections with anybody that I've talked to. So
thank you. So we'd be open for questions or discussion, trustees.
I have a couple of comments. I object to this being so restrictive, that we have stuck him, that it has to be, number one, a special use. Number two, it can only go in the I-1. And number three, and I don't know if apparently these things aren't in the ordinance, that the business is by appointment only, no signage, and no reloading. What if he wants to do reloading? What if we have another dealer come in and they want to do reloading?
Go ahead, Matt.
So those are contained in the special use, which is the next ordinance. They're not in the, those are things that the zoning board applied to his request. They're not in the ordinance we're talking about now. So those could apply or could not apply, or there could be different ones depending on what the zoning board and the village board wants to do at that particular time.
Well, I object to it being so restrictive on someone that wants to open a legitimate business in our village.
Okay, so council, this is open for amendment, correct?
That is correct. But again, as Administrator Fick pointed out, the ordinance that's up for consideration now is just the amendment that allows for the establishment of firearms-related facilities as special use. The other conditions that are identified there are the subject of the next ordinance, and they were based upon recommendations made by the Zoning Board of Appeals, and also, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Dolan had no objection to those particular conditions, and since those are conditions on the special, since those are conditions on this particular special use, there's nothing that precludes the village board from if somebody else comes along and does want something different than this, the village board has the authority at that time to approve a special use based upon the facts and circumstances that they present themselves at that time, and that may not include these or similar conditions. So it is, these conditions in the next ordinance are really very specific to Mr. Dolan's operation, and they were added with his concurrence. Am I correct?
Yes, I think the only thing probably worth pointing out, though, is on the sign ordinance, or in regards to the sign, it wasn't that there was no sign allowed, it was that there was no sign allowed, I believe, that said guns, if I remember right.
It says no exterior signage.
Yeah, it says no exterior signage indicating the existence of the approved firearms-related facilities other than the current corporate name of the petitioner and petitioner's logo.
Right, your logo.
So our logo, okay.
Because that was the
Okay.
discussion last night,
Okay.
was the name of your company
Correct.
and the logo.
Correct.
Okay, Trustee Riker, you still have the floor.
Yeah. So, what about people who are doing this out of their basement, out of their garage, out of their house? How does this affect them?
I think if you find somebody doing that, we'd have to look at the that portion of your zoning board, your zoning regulations, excuse me, that govern home occupations, and it's difficult to discuss in the abstract whether or not a particular operation is approved or is lawful or unlawful without understanding the facts and circumstances related
Well,
to
it's
that.
just like
So-
he was doing it out of his house.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
he's in,
people
he's
that
in East
do.
Peoria. That particular location is in East Peoria. It's not in Peoria
Yeah.
Heights.
Yeah, there's people all over doing it, though.
Yeah, that may be, and if you, and most code enforcement, I think I'm accurate when I say it's complaint-driven, and if you find, if somebody finds or concludes that somebody's operating a business in a manner that's not consistent with the zoning board, or excuse me, the zoning regulations, then they can file a complaint and the village can conduct an investigation. But as a practical matter, Peoria Heights, in my experience, numerous other municipalities that we represent, do not go out looking for these kinds of things. If they run across them, they'll certainly look at it, but it's not something that they do unless they receive a complaint.
Were you wanting to put a sign up on the building?
Just our logo.
What's the name of your company?
So I literally didn't expect this company to get where it's at right now, before I tell you the name of it. Just literally came up, I mean, did all the paperwork in a matter of, as soon as we could possibly get it done. It's my initials. It's just DLD LLC. But the next time when we renew our business license with the state, it's going to be DLD VIP, which is what everybody knows us as anyways. But I've got a picture of it here. I can.
How many guns can people sell before they have to have a license to sell a gun? I mean, people can sell a gun, right?
You can do private sales, but no, I mean, to do it the way that we're doing, we're a federally licensed dealer. You know, we've had to go through ATF and FBI background checks. ATF's been to our house. ATF will be here as well before we move in, or right after we move in at the very least. So no, it is a very strict license to get. I mean, they don't just hand them out like they're going out of style or anything.
Right, yeah, I assume so, yeah. I'm sure it's tough, yeah.
You know what, it's completely my mistake. I had intended on printing out images of my logo, but I've just been busy. So.
You can walk around and show everyone. There's a little bit of it.
This ordinance was just put in so we could put it in the industrial. That's the only reason we had to do this, right?
The one currently under consideration.
Right, it's just so the ordinance could go in industrial, and then the next one is his actual. It just seems to me that each one will be tailor-made to that person, that business. If we have another one comes up, this one is tailor-made to fit him. So when there's another one that comes up, it'll be tailor-made to fit that business if it comes up that way. But it sounds to me like you would have to be selling an awful lot to have to worry about selling it out of your house. So I don't think this is restrictive. It's just, we're just getting the ordinance in there, right, Counselor, to make it to fit into the industrial area.
That's correct.
And that's,
It allows,
and then his will be, the next one will be for him.
yes, exactly.
I think I would like to see us get rid of A, Section A, where it restricts anyone to the I-1 zoning district.
That motion would be appropriate on the next resolution, correct, Mr. Tibbs?
Which one is that?
A.
Firearms
The
related
first
facilities, maybe locally-
paragraph in the ordinance, 1549,
Shall be required.
that restricts him to I-1. Or anyone to I-1.
See, right,
Yeah.
Anybody wanting to open this type of a business.
Would there be like explosives and things though, possibly going with the gun store, like tannerite, black gunpowder and kegs and things like that? I mean,
I know
If you were
Tanner.
reloading, if you were reloading, maybe you would have gunpowder, of course.
You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not arguing, I'm with you, you know, it's fine, but maybe they want it in the I-1 for that reason, because
I
of
don't know.
the possibility, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily want it next to 7, you know? I'm just saying, that's commercial, you
I
know.
think he wants it there because it's close to the police station.
Well, yeah, he does. I'm just.
And that just happens to be an industrial.
No, it's a great location. It's a building that's been vacant for decades, you know, so there's at least going to be some life over there. We're going to put some cameras, obviously outside and inside.
Well, and after a lot of discussion with Mr. Dolan, we felt that Mr. Kemp might be a good partner for him, and it worked out really nicely, so.
Right, absolutely.
So, Counselor, just to, again, to move things forward, if Trustee Reichert wanted to make an amendment, is now the time or on the next resolution?
Well, what she's talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, Trustee Reichert, you're talking about on the ordinance we're now considering subparagraph A. It says firearms-related facilities may be located by special use only within the I-1 zoning district. That's the provision that you're objecting to.
Well, yeah.
And the only comment I would make is that if you remove that now, I guess one could argue that it could be located in the other districts, but nowhere in the code are firearms facilities allowed as a special use or permitted use in any other section, so in any of the other districts. So if it, I mean, this emphasizes that it's only an I-1, but removing this, I don't think would automatically permit firearms-related facilities in the other districts. And you may very well want more restrictions if a firearms-related facility can be operated in a commercial area, as Trustee Harn indicated, like next to one of the restaurants or whatever. And the definition of a firearms-related facility is fairly broad. So it could in fact include loading and reloading of ammunition. And so if it turns out that that somebody else comes in with a plan that appears to be acceptable to somebody, or acceptable to the board for location in one of the commercial districts, it'd be easy enough to amend the code at that time. I guess this particular amendment was done based upon my discussions with officials of the village to make sure that it was relatively restrictive, and it's a whole lot easier to relax the regulations to accommodate some new entity that wants to come in than it is to try to prevent them from coming in if you feel that what they're proposing is inappropriate.
It just it allows us to take it on a case-by-case basis.
Yes, it really does.
I'm comfortable with the language as is. I don't think it's overly restrictive, so.
Same here, I think we should go with it as is.
Any other discussion or questions for Mr. Dolan or for Mr. Tibbs? Are you all ready to vote? All right, Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Trustee Harn?
Aye.
Trustee Gett?
Aye.
Trustee Dan Mariscal?
Aye.
Trustee Diane Mariscal?
Aye.
Trustee Reichert?
Nay.
Trustee Carter?
Okay, and that passes with one in opposition. So we would be at ordinance 2018-1550, an ordinance approving a special use for the operation of a firearms-related facility at 1405 East Lake Street. Trustee Dan Mariscal, I'd ask for a motion to approve that.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 2018-1550.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I do. Okay, Trustee Mariscal, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't think this merits exhaustive explanation. I think we've gone over a lot of it, but this would just go ahead and approve the special use for Mr. Dolan's business specifically. So if anyone has any other questions, I'd direct them to council.
All right, so we're open for discussion.
Well, I still have questions for you.
Dan?
So in that, you're gonna actually have guns like inventoried there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't send
Yes.
them UPS if they're not there.
Okay. Because I thought he said it was online, that you order online, and I guess,
The order sign on there.
so you're gonna go in there by appointment. I had other questions too, but now I'm forgotten.
I mean, typically, we're going to have somebody there, but we don't want to have to be, watching the door type of thing, It's-
Right.
Majority of our business is shipping, so it'd be a nuisance it'd be hard on me or my business to have two people there, just to have somebody even up front to, watch the door,
So
if there's any employees come in.
Walk in and wanted to buy a gun, would you allow that, or you would?
Well, I think the ordinance that just got passed, or is about to get passed, is that it's appointment only. So nobody would actually be able to just walk in. They would have to call first and set up an appointment.
Was your number going to be on your logo that you're going to put on the door?
The office number will be, not myself. This thing is, I had to put it on the moon, the little moon mode, so right now, because it doesn't stop. But yes, we're going to be getting an office phone over there, for each department or whatever.
So they call, they make an appointment. Right now, your employees are firefighters and police officers that will be meeting with your clients.
Correct. So that'll give us occasional daytime hours, but the big thing is, I have four kids, so I like the security of having a real job too, or a full-time job, I should say, not being just completely self-employed. I know at some point I'm gonna have to make the plunge and just do this full-time, but for the time being, I enjoy the security that I have with.
Right, okay.
On the other hand, I do agree with Debbie that if you do want to put a sign on your building that says what you do, I don't have a problem with it. And if you do want to open the doors and have a retail store, I think you'd have to come back and have the ordinance redrawn. That's what Debbie's trying to save you the headache of. But you have a board that's willing to, I think, I'm speaking for myself.
Okay.
My vote to allow you to have a gun store there.
I definitely like the idea of being able to have it open hours. But right now, if the way that we can have our establishment is via appointment only.
Sure, that works.
See how we sustain for a year. In a year from now, we come back and have this meeting again and say, hey, you guys, look, we decided, we want to have actual business hours. At that point, we would be relocating somewhere else in the Heights, hopefully, anyway, or doing a dramatic remodel on this building. This building was built in the 40s. It used to be a sewing factory. And we aren't gonna, everything that we're doing is, we're not going into debt for. Maybe that's a better way to put it. So I'm not gonna sink a bunch of money into a building and maybe work. I'm gonna work with what we've got, see it succeed, and then we'll take the next plunge.
Let it crawl first, and then before you start walking and then running.
Exactly. And the way that it's growing, I think it's very possible that it will happen. But the last thing I want to do is get myself in any type of troubles. So.
Well, I've known Mr. Dolan most of his life, and I have a great comfort level with both he and his family, which is why we did everything we could to be of assistance to him. I wouldn't use the word crawl. I'm not going to reveal any of his sales figures, but this is a pretty big business moving to Peoria Heights, and while I'm want to wish you good luck. Also, as the mayor trying to close the gap, I expect you're going to be paying a lot of sales tax to us as well.
That was my next question was, are we getting sales tax off of this?
Yes. Oh, a lot of the revenue that we do have is from services, not sales. You know what I mean?
Right.
But absolutely, yes, there will be a good amount of sales tax as well. So.
It's a big number.
Okay, so just because I'm interested, if I were to make an appointment, do you have inventory there that people can look at? And,
yes. Kind of the concept that we have right now is before we just let somebody, the nice thing about being able to have an appointment, we can talk to you on the phone. If you don't sound like somebody that
knows anything.
We don't, we got to vet, our who's coming into our store. We have a very select clientele, like I said, and but if you have maybe, you want a firearm, you just don't know what you're looking for, we can have options out. Due to, I guess, the security situation, I don't want to get, but yeah, we would have them out waiting for you to look at that point.
So someone could call you up or go on your website and say, I really
Absolutely.
like this particular gun, but I want to hold it, feel it, see if I really like that, or...
Right, and that's one of the things that's actually holding up our expansion is by not being in a commercial building. What this is by being in a commercial building, it's gonna open up the doors to additional manufacturers that will then deal to us, and it's going to open up opportunities on our website to continue larger sales of firearms. I'll be able to set up, like, it's called drop ship. I'll be able to set that up with a couple different manufacturers as well. So that'll be huge for us.
And so when you do ship these out, then, are you requiring them to send in copies of their FOID card?
No,
No.
you don't send them to people. You send them only to licensed dealers. So
Oh, okay.
we have not shipped to Hawaii, and I'm really apprehensive to deal with anybody out of California due to their such restrictive firearm laws. But other than that, I mean, we've pretty well got a pin in every state at this point, just about every state. So.
Interesting.
So you're okay with these restrictions?
If it's possible to take the appointment portion out of there, that would probably save us from coming back in a year. However, at the same time, it gives me the crutch to fall back on of saying, when people ask me, why aren't you open this time, I'll say, well, it's a village restriction. I can't. So
why not just leave it by appointment, put yourself in there and
yeah, that's
get going
fine.
on it?
Yeah, that's why I'm like, it's either one will work. I mean, and I can tell you right off the bat, starting out, it's going to be appointment only. I mean, I just can't justify having a guy there all day either if they're not doing anything, you know, so. But I have a feeling that we're going to end up having a guy there all day, every day, but.
I mean, who's to say in 6 months he comes back and says, you know what, this is going bigger, faster than what I realized. Is there any way that we can justify that? We can do that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
You can change the condition, you can change the conditions, the board can change the conditions anytime in its discretion.
I mean, yeah, when we do the special use permit that we're
Yes.
gonna go around here, I mean, we can change, we don't have to wait until the end of the contract
No, you
to
can.
change that. He can come back up and ask, and then we can.
If he wants a change, all he has to do is ask for it, and then the village board has to consider, can consider it.
Does that change have to go
So,
before the
6
ZBA?
months, you're like,
Yes, it
yeah,
would.
We don't want this appointment anymore.
Sure.
Come back up,
Sure, yeah, that sounds fine. I mean,
revisit it.
we're going to make it work however, and this is probably the best way for us right now is to have that appointment.
Yeah.
Well, another win here. Again, as I said, I've known Dan his whole life. I expect him to be very active in the Heights. He's going to be very involved in things here in the community, and
Absolutely.
Only good things will come of having you here doing business.
Absolutely.
Anyone else? The chair is open to an amendment if anyone wishes to make that motion. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Harn?
Aye.
Trustee Gett?
Aye.
Trustee Dan Marisco?
Aye.
Trustee Diane Marisco?
Aye.
Trustee Carter? Reichert?
Aye.
Trustee Carter?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Good luck, Mr. Dolan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we would be in ordinance 2018-1551, an ordinance approving a special use for the placement of a digital electronic multiple message on premises sign at 703 East War Memorial Drive. Trustee Dan Mariscal, I would ask for a motion to approve that.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 2018-1551.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I do. Okay, go ahead, Trustee. Mr. Mariscal?
Per an email that I received from Administrator Fick, it looks like Allwinds is wanting to erect a digital sign on front of its premises on War Memorial Drive. Looks like the size will be approximately 5 by 15, and in accordance, with prior codes that we have in place, no scrolling or flashing images will be allowed, and message content can only change after 10-second intervals. An additional condition is that the sign must also be self-dimming. Administrator Fick, if there's anything else I'm missing, please feel free to add.
That covered it.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Questions? No questions? All right. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Harn?
Aye.
Trustee Gett?
Aye.
Trustee Dan Marisco?
Aye.
Trustee Diane Marisco?
Aye.
Trustee Reichert?
Aye.
And Trustee Carter?
Okay, that passes as well. Finally, we have Chuck's Auto Sales, special use quarterly approval. I'd ask for a motion to approve this. Trustee Mariscal?
Thank you, Mayor Phelan. I'd like to make a motion to approve Chuck's Auto Sales Special Use Quarterly Approval.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
I do. Okay, go ahead, Dan.
This is just a housekeeping measure. Looks like Chuck's Auto Sales passed inspection from PHPD, so they're good to go there. Should we approve this special use permit, it will be valid for 3 months, and looks like we'll probably have to vote another approval, and again, at that point, so.
All right, Chief Sutton, anything to add?
We haven't had any issues, Chuck's Auto Sales, he's been compliant.
Okay, any questions for Dan?
Would it be worth it to maybe start stretching this thing out to 6 months?
Yeah, I was kind of curious, because this has been going on for,
Well,
But we did do that.
if you remember right, we used to do
Well, I
this
know, we've been back and forth, but it's
just
been good for a
annually,
while.
and it kind of got out of hand, so what we did is we rolled back quarterly, and I think that, my opinion is, I know it's redundant, but I do think we need to continue quarterly, just on past practice, out of sight, out of mind. When we're not around, sometimes he forgets how many he's supposed to have. So I think that this quarterly visit, we're good.
yeah, it took us a long time to get him to this anyhow, so.
That's the chief's recommendation, it's good enough for me.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Trustee Horn.
Aye.
Trustee Gett.
Aye.
Trustee Dan Mariscal. Trustee Diane Mariscal.
Aye.
Trustee Reichert.
Aye.
And Trustee Carter.
All right, that passes. Next, we'll be at the Treasurer's Report. Madam Clerk?
Okay, on the Treasurer's Report, we show a balance in the Peoria Heights Fund as $1,402,491.59, and for Peoria Heights Waterworks, we have $508,372.30.
Okay, you've heard the Treasurer's Report. I would ask for a motion to approve that.
So move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I do. Any discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Horn.
Aye.
Trustee Gett.
Aye.
Trustee Dan Mariscal.
Aye.
Trustee Diane Mariscal.
Aye.
Trustee Reichert.
Aye.
And Trustee Carter.
Thank you, and that passes. Next, we have an executive session scheduled, so I would ask for a motion to go into executive session on Personnel 5 ILCS 120/2C1.
So moved.
A motion by Trustee Harn, is there a second?
Second.
There is. All those in favor of going into executive session signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and we will return after the executive session. We have 2 more pieces of business, 2 appointments that we will deal with once we return. So we are going into executive session. Okay, so we are back in regular session. There were 2 pieces of business for us to cover tonight. At this time, I'm going to ask for a motion to defer.
I make a motion to defer.
Both appointments, Trustee Geff?
Yes, sir.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion on the motion? All right. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Horn.
Aye.
Trustee Gett.
Aye.
Trustee Dan Mariscal. Trustee Diane Mariscal.
Aye.
Trustee Reichert. And Trustee Carter.
Okay. Any other business come before the board tonight? Trustee Gett?
I make a motion to adjourn.
All right. Is there a second? There is? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. We're adjourned. We'll see you Thursday night.
Everybody says nay, but
Second.
wins.
Sure.